This man has never knocked nobody out cold. He's a bully. He's slow. He has no skill, no footwork. He's awkward. And I have been giving him a name. Because he fights. When he's fighting, if you ever watch him in the ring, he drags like that after his opponent. and how's the mummy gonna catch me?
And all I had to do was to go out and beat for a man who had no skill, no class. Seriously, the man had no skill. I don't know why the world is so foolish to believe in him and think that I wasn't going to win.
Well, when you say you're ready to go to war right now...
I see that barrel in the street, I beat him before the fight.
You'd actually take him on before the fight?
Beat him like I'm his daddy.
Basketball players out there, football players, they want to beat so bad, they want to get everybody. I'll go to Mars, I don't care.
For the thousands in attendance and the millions watching around the world, let's get ready to rumble!
Yo, how's it going, everyone? Happy Saturday, and welcome to another episode of Lights Out Debates. We dare you to debate, and we've got another couple good ones here today. And we're going to start off with, as you see on the thumbnail, with this is an interesting one. Chris Paul versus original Isiah Thomas, right? Who is greater? So that's going to be an interesting argument there between Dart and King's Speech Row. So, I mean, that's going to be – I've always thought about that, and I think, if anything, I think Chris Paul is underrated. But I can't wait to hear the various arguments here. But hey, let's let our debaters introduce themselves again. Kick us off there, Dart.
Well, for the people that don't know, I'm Dart. I live in the ocean. I'm an orca whale. I like to feed on the debate fish, and I'm ready to go and get this one, put it in the bag, eat it up, poop it out, and move on to the next one. And hello, Ro, how are you?
Good. And Ro, he said he's going to eat you up and poop you out, man. How do you feel about today's odds today?
Yeah, I'm. It's crazy. I always have something going on at 12 o'clock. But yeah, I'm here to represent Isiah Thomas. I've been wanting to have this debate for a while because I think generational. A lot of people have compared these two, and I think Isiah is clearly the greater player and probably the better player when it's all said and done.
Okay. Well, so you heard it, guys. This is going to should be a really good one. And then later on, after that, we have Hollywood Herm versus a first-time debater here, Shay. So we'll see if veteran Herm, and they're going to be debating. Is Tim Duncan top 5? So Herm says no. Shay says absolutely yes. So we'll lock down on that one afterwards. But so we're going to be joined here again by another judge or so. But let's take a look here. If so, we won't really see here. Reach out really fast. But what do you think your odds are here, Ro? What do you think is going to be the key to victory? Not say anything is the key. How about you, Dart? What are the keys to victory here?
I think the key to victory is to articulate how Chris Paul's ability, quality, and eminence in his career in the game of basketball is just overall greater than Isiah Thomas's. And I think that only in a few circumstances can you even try and attempt to say that Isiah Thomas was greater than Chris Paul. Really by the numbers. Now he's Isiah Thomas, great player, has a lot of great stories surrounding him, and Rowe has disappeared. Maybe me explaining my game plan has scared him off.
He decided to run.
Yeah. So, but anyway, yeah, I think I'm gonna win by articulating my case better and providing the evidence to show how Chris Paul's greater than Isiah Thomas. So
this is actually going to be a really good one too, because like it's having to overcome the ringless arguments, things like that. I think it's going to be
So
really
I'm here, guys. Sorry about that.
No problem. Well, we won't wait too much long for this additional judge here, but let's see if maybe if we have to, we can default to maybe like the chat afterwards. We're supposed to have two people here, or two others besides myself and Herm, and we're not seeing them at the moment. But I'll leave it to you guys. Do you guys want to wait a couple more minutes, or do you want to get the tie breaking if necessary rounds to the chat?
Yeah, let's put up a poll in the chat. Let's not wait because who knows if they're coming.
Okay.
Yeah. All right.
All right. Yeah. Well, with that being said, we'll go ahead and get this kicked off. And Dart can start us off there with the clock, and we'll be in the back. And you said you're going first, right, Ro?
Yeah.
All right. Make sure
10-second primer. I'm gonna bring people backstage. We have 10-second primer, and then it will begin. Are you ready, sir?
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay.
Three, 2, 1.
All right, Ro, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah. All right. I got knocked off real quick.
Okay. I will hold on. Let me I'll restart it. Just give me a second. Just gotta move you over. God damn it. Anyway, sorry for the technical difficulties.
Yeah, my bad. Yeah, it's really on me.
No, you're good, man. It happens. All right, we will restart this in a second. I'm just trying to get Ro over to the correct spot. Or meet at a correct spot. Hold on. There you go. Alrighty. All right, are you ready this time? Ro? Uh-oh. Can you hear me, Ro? King Speech Ro, can you hear me? Can you guys hear me, the judges?
Yeah, perfectly, man.
Okay, and you guys can't hear Ro?
No, he is not saying anything.
I'm here.
Okay.
Okay, are you ready, Ro?
They can't hear me?
No, you're in and out, dude.
Oh, yeah, because there was two of me on there, right? When I came back in, it was the second one. So should I just bounce out again?
No, I hear you now. Can you just give me another check?
Should I read
No, you should be good now. You're sounding good now. I removed the other one. All right, let's try this again. All right, you ready? Bro, you hear me? Oh my god. Yeah, Ro, if you can hear me, I guess try to come in and out because you're not staying on here, dude.
Get up your that McDonald's Wi-Fi, bro. What's going on, man?
Ro, you hear me?
Well.
All right, I'm kicking him from the studio, both of him from the studio. Yeah, if you ask him to come back in. Maybe Ro, I'm going to claim that Ro was just trying to duck me last minute. No.
He might.
No,
That's terrible.
I don't think so. I do think it's wherever he is, though.
I mean, like,
can you message?
yeah, it seems like he's always like on his phone or something. Like, and that's cool if you can work it out, but
yeah.
Let's see if he actually comes back. Message him here.
I kicked both because he just kept coming back. I don't know what he was doing with his phone, but I kicked both of the profiles off.
Yeah, it sounded like there was like a huge delay and everything too. Big time. Let's get off the dial-up, yeah. Woodage, how's the chat doing today? As we got Casual Hoopset in here. Great. Woodage. Politicus Rex even. Maybe he should argue for Isiah. I mean, wait, I mean, yeah, Rex.
Rex, at this point, Ro is not here, so.
Yeah. I mean, I should have had a backup debate. Herman used to call him down. Yep. I should have had a backup debate ready for this point, right? So we all knew. Invisible Row. Message him here. See if he responds to me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess I can make my case. Otherwise, if people are interested, but there won't be a rebuttal. Has he answered you back?
He saw mine. He read my message. Oh,
Ro.
Yes, I'm back. I promise you, I'm not trying to forfeit this one. Oh boy, yeah. No, I'm bouncing in and out. I don't know. Maybe the thing is, I'm not like I had to go to my office, which is my car, and I think I might be a little close to my Wi-Fi base, so that's why it's kind of bouncing back and forth. Maybe I should drive up the street, get away from my Wi-Fi, so it stops going back and forth. All right, so I'm here. All right.
Are you ready now? Or do you need a moment?
Let me. No, because I turned the Wi-Fi off. So I'm on the other phone, so I turned the Wi-Fi off, so I should be good. All right, let's go.
All right, I'm going to start it now.
Three, 2, 1.
So we're gonna start off. This is a who's greater debate. Isiah Thomas versus Chris Paul. I must start off by admitting that both of these players are terrific point guards. Probably, definitely top 10, arguably top 5 point guards of all time. And I mean, they're point guards in the truest sense of the word. Chris Paul is the point guard. Isaiah Thomas. It was a point guard in his generation. It's a very this argument or this comparison has come into a generational. It's a generational argument. Isiah Thomas started his career in 1981. He finished in 1994. So he had 13 seasons with the Detroit Pistons. all with a team that built like their first playoff. It took them 2 or 3 years to get to the playoffs. At that point, they started Isaiah started having legendary playoff battles. The Pistons built around him, and the Pistons had their run-ins. They had a lot of run-ins with Dominique Wilkins in his Hawks. They had a lot of run-ins with obviously Michael Jordan, 3 times beating him, and they had run-ins with Larry Bird in the Boston Celtics. The most famous run-ins were the 3 straight finals against the 3 straight finals against the Los Angeles. Well, two finals against the Los Angeles Lakers, one against the Portland Trailblazers. Sorry about that. But yeah, the breakthrough for Isiah Thomas came in 1988. It came in 1988 when they took the Lakers to a 7th game, and Isiah Thomas rolled his ankle in the 3rd quarter, had the famous 25-point quarter in the 3rd quarter, limping up, and they lost that game by 1 with a chance to ice the championship. They lost in a game 7. Game 6 was a very controversial play. What I'm going to crux my argument on is the fact that these were both terrific players, but Isiah Thomas got that breakthrough, the breakthrough of greatness, the breakthrough of a champion. He was able to lead his team to 2 NBA championships, and it could have been a 3rd one. The breakthrough of Chris Paul's career, he did that on someone else's team. He actually never got out the 2nd round until he went to James Harden's team. And yes, he provided a lot of leadership to the Phoenix Suns, but that was someone else's team. That was Devin Booker's team. Isiah Thomas was both the leader and the main event.
All right, you said this was a point guard debate. Well, Chris Paul is known as the point god, so by name, and I'm going to make an argument not for that, but just in comparison. He said it's a generational argument. My argument is going to span across all of NBA history. You mentioned about Isiah Thomas being a central figure. So was Chris Paul on his teams. And he played against great teams like the mid-2010 Golden State Warriors, the Spurs, the Lakers, and the Thunder, which had Curry, Duncan, Durant, respectively, in their primes, and Kobe Bryant. And Chris Paul, he didn't win a championship, you're right, but he had more impact with his advanced stats, and amongst other things, in respect to the quality of his contributions. I'm going to bring that up in a future round. But thanks for having me. Chris Paul is greater than Isiah Thomas. Greatness is defined by ability, quality, and eminence considerably above the normal average. In all these aspects, Chris Paul has more convictive evidence than Isiah Thomas, and through his dominance, which is to be commanding, controlling, or prevailing over all others. Chris Paul is more eminent than Isiah Thomas, I claim. Eminence meaning a position of prominence or superiority. Talking about his on-court awards, reputation, and contributions to the game of basketball. So Chris Paul was a member of the Lob City Clippers, arguably the most iconic alley-oop dunking team in NBA history, and he was the facilitator. And this also goes along with the point guard moniker, illustrating his capability at the position across all time. Chris Paul was awarded 4 first-team All-NBAs in comparison to the 3 of Isiah Thomas. To make this clear, first-team All-NBA represents the best players by position for the season. And then Paul, in total over his career, was awarded All-NBA 11 times in comparison to Isaiah's 5. And that showcases his consistency across his career and time in comparison to Isiah. Just he was able to accomplish it more. He had a longer career, but at the same time, he still got it more. Paul was an 11-time MVP candidate compared to Isaiah's 10, while he was number 1 on his team. Now, Chris Paul was a 7-time All-NBA defense first team and 9-time total selection. Isiah never was recognized and awarded that for any All-NBA team defensive selection. And that is showing, and that's describing or being awarded, being claimed as one of the best defensive players in the league, or one of the top 2. Additionally, Paul was an 8-time Defensive Player of the Year candidate compared to Isaiah's 0. Again, that showcases his reputation even further. Additionally, Chris Paul's a 2-time Olympic gold medalist. Isiah didn't have any. You want to know why? He had a bad reputation. His players on his team snubbed him from going on the 92 Dream Team, famously Michael Jordan. And all of this is separated from the eminence he got from his individual building quality, and I'm going to discuss that in my next 2 rounds. But plainly, Chris Paul is greater eminence than Isiah
3,
Thomas
2,
amongst his ability
1.
and quality.
A lot of things that my opponent predictably brought up, and again, I can concede the All NBA selections, the All NBA defense selections. Well, again, Chris Paul was a terrific defender. So was Isiah Thomas. Only Isiah Thomas, I believe, had to go against guys like Sidney Moncrief, got to go against guys like Alvin Robinson, guys with elite. I'll put it this way: Michael Jordan. The guys playing defense in the 80s, in the 90s, and the most of Isaiah's career were considered to be better than the guys playing in Paul's career. And that's and again, the longer career will account for the more All NBA teams. Isiah Thomas was on All NBA team, first team point guard 3 times in the league with Magic Johnson, in the league with Michael Jordan, in the league with Dennis Johnson, with a considerable competition. Now, the idea my opponent brought up, did Isiah never won a gold medal because he was viewed as cantankerous or viewed as he was viewed as cantankerous to his opponents. Chris Paul was a part of the famous Banana Boat crew, where he gets along with guys like LeBron James and Dwayne Wade and all that. But here's the crazy part. Chris Paul was always looked at as cantankerous by his Lob City teammates, and everywhere else he pretty much went. It's to the point where Chris Paul was asked to go home in his farewell season. That didn't happen with Isiah Thomas. Isiah Thomas was loved by his teammates, hated by his opponents, and that's probably the reason why Isiah Thomas has more playoff level success than Chris Paul. It's amazing when you're loved by your opponents and hated by your teammates. Well, again, my opponent brought up all the great teams he played against. Who did he beat? Well, Isiah Thomas eventually beat the Celtics. Isiah Thomas beat Michael Jordan and the Bulls three straight years. Isiah Thomas eventually beat the Dominique Wilkins. Isiah Thomas beat Magic Johnson after losing them the first time and swept them. Like, he beat Clyde Drexler. Again, and he was the leader, the unadulterated leader, undisputed leader of that team. Team was built around him. The team was rough and tough. Yeah, he wasn't an All-NBA defender, but by God, did the Celtics, the Pistons become the defensive team of the 80s. The team that absolutely changed the way they actually set the tone for the way the 90s would be played on a defensive style. In addition to that, he was always a playoff riser, scoring more in the playoffs than he did in the regular season. And again, loved by his teammates.
So Chris Paul played against the players he did, and he won against the entire NBA when he played against them. Isiah never did. So you consider better how. How can you accurately measure that? The matter of fact is Isiah was not one of the top defensive players in the league when he played. I like the word cantankerous on a sidebar, and the banana boat. That shows his teamwork. It shows his appreciation across the league, even though they weren't on the team, the teams. However, he also was the president of the NBA Association. That's a sidebar. Chris Paul did have more playoff success. He didn't have a better win-loss record. I'm going to get into that. And playoffs are often considered about matchups. I'm going to get that in the later round. But Chris Paul had greater ability than Isiah Thomas. Ability meaning talent, skill, or proficiency in a particular area. First, Paul was known for his two-way play and dominance over his contemporaries, like I just mentioned, specifically for the statistical titles he won. Paul won 5 total assist titles with 2 back-to-back distinguishing times that occurred, having him tied for 4th all-time with those with Jason Kidd and Steve Nash. Additionally, Paul won 6 steals titles in his career with 2 strings of the award, 1 with a back-to-back and 2 with 4 in a row, making him the most winningest recipient of this award in NBA history. What's more impressive is that he won these awards in the same year on 3 separate occasions where only 17 players across all time have accomplished this, and there was only 28 times of this instance happening. And Chris Paul's tied for second for having this feat with Michael Jordan, and the only guy that's ahead of them is Wilt Chamberlain. They did that 3 times each. Isiah Thomas has 1 assist title in total. He never, in comparison, had a defensive statistical title in his 13-year NBA career. In respect to longevity in their careers, Chris Paul is both second in all-time in assists and all-time steals in comparison to Isiah Thomas, with 10th assists and 18th in steals. These stats are the primary stats associated with point guard play in comparison to other positions for the titles and the totals. And then for top 20 career high steals games, Paul has 16 games with 7 or more steals in comparison to Isaiah's 2. Both players had similar regular season and playoff top 5 per game stats. However, Paul outperformed Thomas in efficiency in the regular season, field goal percentage with almost 47% to 45%, 3-point percent with 37 to 29%, and free throw percent with 87 to 75.9%. This is similar in the playoffs where Paul outperformed Thomas and all of those with the same similar differences. Also for regular season totals, Paul is more than Isiah in everything except for blocks. Excuse me. No, back that up. Paul is 8 triple doubles in person.
My opponent mentioned Chris Paul being the president of the Players Association. So was Isiah Thomas. He neglected to mention that. And see, it's funny because both of these guys, the cantankerous nature, would make them ideal for that position. Again, Isiah Thomas got a lot done for the players, and again, I would give them a wash on that name alone. But here's the thing that I will say this: that cantankerous is that go get it. See, the problem is, Chris Paul comes up in the AAU culture. There was no AAU culture with Isiah Thomas, so therefore you had a general dislike from teammates. So when I use that rebuttal to show that Isiah Thomas was disliked by his teammates, by his opponents. He was supposed to be disliked by his opponents. He wasn't disliked by his teammates. Chris Paul was disliked by his teammates, loved by his opponents, loved by the other elite players in the league. And yeah, it's good for respect, but you never beat those players. Isiah Thomas showed he could be the best player on a championship team at his size. See, that's the thing. He's one of the few players to lead a team to finals at under 6'1", and he won it twice. One of the only players to win it twice as the best player under 6'3". Isiah Thomas had that ability. That game 6 again. One of the things that held Chris Paul back was when it came down to playoff time. It was always an injury. It was always an injury that held them back. Well, Isiah Thomas was tougher. He played through his injury. At 46-point game 6 was a legendary performance. He just wouldn't, he almost beat the Showtime Lakers right then and there when they were underdogs. Again, the nature of Isiah Thomas being hated by his teammates, but that's the thing. That was the culture. You weren't supposed to like your team. You weren't supposed to count out with your teammates, and that's why they were able to eventually beat the opponents. Chris Paul, we wind up saying, oh, he never had great teammates. But meanwhile, he's played with MVPs. He played with Devin Booker. He's played with Blake Griffin. He's played with DeAndre Jordan. He's played with Jamal Crawford. He played with JJ Redick. He's played with so many guys. Well, Isiah Thomas pretty much played with those Pistons. Throwing, Adrian Dantley. They traded him for Mark Aguirre. Pretty much that was really the main move. He played with Kelly Trippier earlier, but those Pistons teammates, they were able to build something. Chris Paul was with New Orleans 6, 7 years, never won anything.
3, 2, 1.
With the Clippers, never won anything.
Right. You repeated a large part of your last round for this round, talking championships. And yeah, that's largely the biggest case against Paul, but there's a lot more to it. And then you also mentioned a lot about the teamwork. Again, something you just talked about a lot for your last round. So I'm going to bring up more context and describe the quality and impact or advanced stats for Chris Paul in the case against Isiah Thomas. Talking about his quality, the degree to which an object or entity satisfies a specified set of attributes or requirements. And again, talking about his quality contributions to his team. Now, for career win-loss record, Chris Paul had a record of 855 with 515. That's a 62.4 win percentage in comparison to Isiah's 567 to 412, which is a 57.9 win percentage. That's a 5% difference. And again, playoffs, there's a lot of matchups. Yes, he didn't win. And that's what makes, in respect to championship aspects, that's what makes Isaiah had more. So that makes him greater in respect to championship aspects. But there's so much more to it. And again, his advanced stats show his quality contributions to his team's success, which he had more overall wins in respect to the games that he played within his career. So for the regular season, Paul outperformed Isaiah in VORP 82 game average at 5.9 to 3.5. Paul outperformed Isaiah in box plus minus 6.5 to 2.6. That's more than double. Win shares per 48, 0.225 to 0.1. That's more than double to Isaiah's. PER, 23.5 to 8.1. This is all regular season stuff. Paul did this with a lower usage rate and compared to Isiah Thomas with a 25.3 to 22 or 22.5 to 25.3. And it proves that Paul achieved a similar raw stat line I talked about earlier with the ball less in his hands in respect to being scoring the ball with assists or actually shooting it. In addition to this, Paul also outperformed Isaiah in win shares, true shooting percentage, rebounding percentage, assist percentage, steal percentage, and turnover percentage rate. He just did it across the board in all of those metrics. He outperformed Isiah Thomas. And this is similar in the playoff advanced metrics as well, with the only stats where Isaiah outperforms Chris Paul is the block and steal percentage. As I discussed, Chris Paul had greater ability, he had greater quality, he had greater eminence than Isiah Thomas. He was more dominant than Isiah Thomas, talking about the stat titles, talking about the win-loss records, talking about the eminence with all the awards that I discussed. All of these things encompassing, it out-trumps the 2 championships that he has. Chris Paul is just plain greater than Isiah Thomas with everything mentioned.
3, 2, 1.
And then Roe left. Anyway, judges.
Yeah. Who we got there? Who got? How do you do, man? Did you hear the entire debate?
Everybody got technical difficulties, man. I hope this wind ain't knocking people's Wi-Fi out.
Yeah. Who got? Are you there, Ben? Okay. Well, either way, if necessary, we'll go to the the chat. Herm, do you want to take us away?
I guess I could chime in on it, man. I got Dart winning 2-1, unfortunately. I'm a big Zeke guy. Zeke is my guy. One of the best point guards I've seen that I watched and studied. But Dart did a good job delivering his points. Got straight to the point. He got straight to the point and hit on his nose. Roll, he did messed up with repeating. It was kind of difficult. I think this is the type of debate that you kind of gotta focus on. Just focus on the qualities of a player. I think you should have focused more on that and tried to sell why Isaiah was so great rather than trying to describe moments. You could have done that for a round, but after that round though, you got to hit it on the head to sell people why Isaiah was so great, why Isaiah meant to the team, and how they had they accomplished those things in the tough era that they was in. For a team, nobody really looked at at the time as a team that could win the chip and compete for titles. So I think he could have focused on that. But I got a 2-1 Dart, man. Roll did the best of his ability, but I think it was certain ways he could have took it. But yeah, I got Dart 2-1, man.
Who going next?
Who got? Can you hear us? He just texted the chat saying he's in the back.
Hey, yo, can y'all hear me?
Yeah. Can you hear us?
Yeah, man.
All right. Well, hey, I'm gonna go. I also have it 2-1 for Dart here, and I after. So here's the thing. After round one, I actually did give to Rowe because I said, hey, he's gonna argue it the way I would have, which is he's gonna highlight the fact that I think that Isiah Thomas was thriving against far better competition, and not just piling up stats that didn't equal a lot of team success or championships or or deep playoff runs. And I was really excited about that round. And then Dart led off with a very fair round, which when he was talking about a lot of the discrepancy in their some of their accolades, like all NBA defense, things like that, which is the exact argument that you should use. But I thought Rowe was really building toward how you mentioned how he was giving it to one of the best teams of all time on a bum ankle, took him to 7 games. Who knows what happens if he's healthy or if game 6 wasn't bunk. But I really liked the way he highlighted that in round 1, where I thought he was setting it up there. But I was really waiting for. We really started talking in round 2 about how it was kind of like he kind of mentioned this competition again. He kind of he was talking about the banana boat thing, and I was like, he's hated or whatever. I was waiting for Rowe to really go into a lot of the deep dive about just how good Isiah Thomas was against these legendary teams. A lot as far as legendary assists, as far as elevating his scoring because he had to, as far as who he was going against individually, and some of his best performances that actually led to these titles, which is the real discrepancy between these guys. Really didn't do anything of that as far as mentioning 88. And I mean, I was Rowe and then or Dart actually went ahead and was talking about how much better that you kind of like rounded into form in rounds 2 or 3, how much better Paul was across the board statistically, across his as far as longevity stats go, as far as per game stats go, analytically, which I think is, if you're not going to counter the analytics and the discrepancy of their resume, their total resume as far as awards go and accolades go, then I think you do have to kind of go into the fact that he has the rings. What led him to that? What were some of the awards? Who was he going against? And I like when Rowe said, yes, Isiah Thomas beat his competition in order to get those rings. Chris Paul was often injured. He really never made any deep playoff runs, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But he didn't really capitalize on that. And I mean, there was a lot of meat left on the bone there. And I thought you really could have just countered, a lot of the stats that Dart was putting up with. Hey, what kind of success did that lead to? Here's why Isiah Thomas won. But I do give it to Dart because he really pressed the advantage that Chris Paul innately has when you're talking about that. And so give you a great round 1, but I thought that Dart took it away in the end. Hookah, did you see the entire debate?
Yes. Well, let me take that back. I think I got in on about 80%. And let me say this, just let me preface. I'm an Isiah Thomas guy. Yes, I do believe he's the better player. However, for this particular dialogue, I would have to give the edge to Dart because what I was listening for was the facts that was presented, which both sides did, don't get me wrong. But then where I would have to favor Dart is the delivery and then the structure. Because the points that Rowe was making for Isiah, and don't get me wrong, those are some of my talking points, right? But then you have to be able to, I would say, build on that, right? And I think it was kind of like getting semi-circled back around those successes about him, building with the Pistons. Again, I'm on board with all that. But correct me if I'm wrong, but I know how we're judging this is about the facts being presented, the delivery, and then like details and also the structure of how it's presented for the discussion. So yeah, I'd have to give Dart the edge for this one. Both you guys presented great, like great information, but when you start to get a little bit more in depth and detail, yeah, I would have to favor Dart for this one as well. But it was a great discussion on both sides. Don't get me wrong.
So there we go, guys. How do you think you guys did personally, Dart?
I thought I did great. I thought that, You know what I love? I love the word cantankerous, and I love that the banana boat was brought up. But I think I think I did well. Like you said, I think I stumbled a couple times there, kind of just because I jacked my script up. But the aspect of outside of that, um, I think I had the right information, and I think that I countered pretty well for what was presented, and I think it was a pretty good performance. I mean, it could be better, but I think for the situation, I did really well. I thought Roe brought up some great points. I think like all you were saying, I think he just needed to provide a little bit more evidence of some of his claims, and it would have been I think it would have done better for him.
Yeah. How about you, Ro? What do you think you did well? What do you think maybe you could have done a little bit more? Or what do you think
Yeah. And I'll tell you this. I went first because I went first. And sometimes you want to set it up. You want to set the tone of the debate. I did get Dart to stumble a little bit when he had to do a counter. Y'all know I'm a counter puncher. I'm a rebuttalist. So I'm gonna bring up those points that it's hard to refute. I don't think my points were ever refuted as far as Isiah being the better leader. And that's really why, because I knew Dart was gonna come with the advanced stats. So I'm gonna, I chose to really not bring up stats because when you look at it, the raw stats are pretty much the same, but the advanced stats. I mean, Chris Paul does have a great assist to turnover ratio. Here's the problem. I wanted to highlight Chris Paul never really being a playoff riser, never having that marquee playoff performance, and never really beating the competition. Really, he had to join the competition to get any level of success. And you got one conference finals run and you got a finals run. Well, Isiah Thomas had, obviously with his Pistons in the 13th season had a lot more than that. So that's what I tried to stay on. When he brought up the Players Association thing, I'm like, wait a minute, did he not realize that Isiah Thomas was also president of the Players Association in their day? So then I had to really say hey, look, both of those guys got a lot done for the players as really that person. I think both of these guys had similar personalities. Right. I tried to keep it more on that because I knew, again, the advanced stats, the advanced metrics, especially dealing with the difference in the league and the difference of the league rules and how, you come to this era and it's more of an offensive league than it was. Well, I mean, it was an offensive league in the 90s, but you still had more physical play. Chris Paul never had to deal with that. So, just on that, I tried to stay around there and I tried to counterpunch going first. So that's why I came back around to my arguments from round 2 and round 3, because Dart, I had to pretty much reiterate some of the things. And like I said, when he brought up the Players Association president thing, I'm like, yeah, Isiah was, and I had to look that up real quick too, because I do remember Isiah being the president. I think he handed it off to Ewing and those guys after he retired. But yeah, he was playing because again, he wasn't liked by his teammate. I mean, wasn't liked by his opponents. And again, that's where it was supposed to be, right? But nowadays, you have a whole different. Like when you go to I put it this way: when I went to a game in the '90s, these guys are not associating with each other in the game. You go to the game now in the 2000s, these guys are just dapping each other up, hugging after every play. So you got a whole different thing. And the thing is, I wanted to stick on to the fact that guys, Chris Paul's teammates just don't like him. And that's probably the reason why he never had that level of success. Well, Isiah Thomas' opponent hated him, and his opponents and his teammates loved him. His teammates, went to bat for him. I mean, you even had guys going at Karl Malone years later after the fact because Karl Malone put that elbow in his eye. So, I just think that I wanted to get on that better leadership role, and I thought they were very similar talent players. So, and I think that Isiah just had that ability, that ability to be the number one guy, where Chris Paul never really showed that. And I know I should have brought up more stats and more things like that to bring that home.
But I think that in this type of debate, though, I don't think that you should try to counter. Sometimes you got to sell it, and I think this was a situation you had to sell Isaiah rather than trying to be a counter puncher. I think you focusing on countering too much. You don't always have to counter every talking point that someone puts in the debate. You just got to sell your person, sell your
No, I
reason
understand that.
why you rolling with the guy. So
I understand that, and but again, I understand that, and I'm never one to use stats for my argument, so I'm never going to change my style on that. I mean, like I'll use stats, but not to not as the central part of my argument. So, again, when we see the stats are pretty much similar, or maybe a little bit edge to Paul. I mean, Thomas on the raw stats, and we know that Chris Paul has great advanced stats, advanced metrics. You know what I'm saying? And again, when I don't like to get into explaining advanced metrics because, especially towards different eras, it's like it'd be one thing if you compare them to the same era, but in different eras, like I said, I have to then bring up other players and all that, and like value over replacement. If I think the point guards were better in the '80s, then value over replacement is obviously going to go Chris Paul's way. You know what I'm saying? Like his rival is Darren Williams. Isaiah's rival is Magic Johnson. I mean, come on. Like, so, but it was great debate. Great debate.
Yeah, I thought it was a good one. I feel like that's like one of the debates where you can, I don't know, like there's so much like you can say for each guy, right? They're both legends, obviously.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, but and look, Chris Paul, again, I started off, and I like to do this. They're both terrific players. Neither one of them was a scrub. So, I mean, if I'm judging a debate and you try to act like one of these guys was a scrub, like why are we even debating them if we think one of them is a scrub? No, obviously both were great. And, it's just you're going to highlight the differences. Where does one, guys, this is what I do on my GOAT series. Where does one, because it's like this whole thing with Duncan, right? I don't know. I don't even want to, let me not do that one. I know that's coming up. But, you know what I'm saying? Like, where does one outdo the other? They're both great. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of where I start off. And yeah, it's really hard to separate the greatness. What do you prefer? Do you prefer great leadership? Do you prefer great playoff performances? And or you prefer advanced metrics? A lot of people prefer those advanced metrics. So.
Yeah. Give me a second. I think it's a great points all around. I'm checking in on our okay. Yeah, Shay says he's coming right now. So Herm, looks like you'll get the smoke here in just a second.
Who's judging for the second debate?
I was about to ask. I'm more than happy to do it. Hoop God, if you want to stick around as well. Dart, are you down or whoever?
I'd rather just watch if Rose willing to judge. If not,
I'll be here to debate. Yes, I'll be here to debate. Then.
Okay, let's do it. Yeah, so me, Hope God, and Ro will be the judge here then.
All right.
You down for that, Hoop God? Mr. Hoop God?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Hoop God, we got to get you up here to debate too, man, next week or something.
I mean, if the other guy didn't fill in, I was going to say I'm ready to go.
Oh, shit.
And Herm, when do you want to have that Magic Oscar debate? When and where?
Man, it's whenever with me. But I know Travis wants to smoke, but it's whenever with me.
I want to smoke next week. You guys can debate during the week on your channel, man. I got her next weekend.
Yeah, I got you. We got a lot of platforms we can throw these things on.
I also got to get back with Herm. I don't even think I lost to Bob Cousy versus Oscar Robertson debate. We got to run it back.
Dart, don't forget, with all due respect to the good brother Herm, but he tried to. I want to say he tried to put out a notion that I was scared. And Hoop God, that's like oil and water. Like what?
Hey. So aircraft carrier, I don't know. I mean, I would love to debate Nick. I've done it before, but
this would be a walk in the park, man.
Yeah, we'll see if Nick shows up here ever.
I'm about to go get my Doc Holliday hat. I'm your Huckleberry.
Yeah, so your boys should be up here in a second. It says he's hopping on. So yeah, for the chat, this next one is going to be again: is Tim Duncan a top 5 player? Herm with the emphatic no. Shay says that he can counter and convince us otherwise. I personally have Tim Duncan top 5, but like I said, it's all about the argument and who does it better. So we'll
Let's go. And I'll be nice. I'll go first, man. I'll be nice too.
Yeah, you make it a challenge, her. I'm sorry.
That'd be nice, man.
He's gonna go first just to be nice. That's incredible. All right, let's see. A minute here to hop on.
Yeah, I'm gonna see if he fall for the tactics, man. I'm gonna see if he fall for the bait that I'm gonna throw out there.
Y'all know last month I was in 90-degree weather, right? For the last oh Lord, it's 10 today.
Well, aircraft carrier, we've personally we've seen Nick go on different channels and give them the smoke, so I'm not surprised by that.
I think it happened in my debate league last year, or 2 years ago.
Nick is more than capable.
Bro, you just get that bad network, man.
No, I'm good.
You must be with Boost Mobile or something, man.
No, I got Verizon. I got Verizon and AT&T, so I'm double covered.
You should have used the AT&T one, man. Verizon fell out bad, man.
You got to get that Spectrum, dude. What are you talking about? The GOAT.
Spectrum.
Yeah, Wi-Fi wise, yeah.
Well, in case everyone hasn't gathered already, Herm is the target right now. So we all want. So we're all gonna get up here.
You know what's funny? Hold on. Oh, Jesus. I mean, I got a lot of smoke. Even Zay gave me smoke about my Karl Anthony Towns versus Duncan post.
Hey, get Zay on here, bro. That's what I say. Get Zay on here.
Hey, Ro, that was funny as hell, though. That was funny.
But I think people don't realize what I was doing there, man. Like, when you look at numbers, you have to look into numbers. And especially when you're doing numbers across generations, it's never A to A. You got to look at the way the game is playing. So, they're like, well, do it after 11 seasons. Well, Karl Anthony Towns, other than blocks and Bork, pretty much got the numbers there too. This is the
you knew you was being nasty though. You knew you.
So wait, Ro, you arguing for? Yeah,
I was doing two things. I was telling Knicks fans, hey, look, y'all can say Karl Anthony Towns is soft all you want, but at the end of the day, the man does produce. He does put the ball in the bucket. And if that's what you want from that position, that's what you do. He did it at a level that, but by the same token, it's just like, stall the brother out, but also realize that numbers don't tell you everything. And that's my mantra. You know what I'm saying? That's my mantra. It goes, numbers can be cheap, as we see from the guy that's about to leave the Lakers, about to get kicked out of the Lakers. Getting his numbers in blowouts just to say, well, I got my numbers. I'm just saying.
But what I'm asking, so you're making the argument for Karl Anthony Towns over Duncan?
No, I'm making. One thing about me, I'm like, I'm not gonna do that. But I like a lot of double entendres. I like to prove multiple points with things that I bring up. Right.
Okay.
So what I'm bringing up is, well, number one, Duncan's numbers being on par with a Karl Anthony Towns should show you that, hey, Duncan was great, but he never gave you those type of numbers that the rest of the greats did. By the same token, numbers can be overrated. So, you know what I'm saying? But then Knicks fans should realize, hey, we got a guy that can get numbers. I'd rather have him than a center that goes for 10 and 6. You know what I'm saying? Like, Karl Anthony Towns right now shooting career low in 3-point percentage. A career low, and that's 36. But guess what? That's probably better. That 36% at the volume he's making is probably better than any center we've ever had. So we got to realize what we have. By the same token, like it's always more complex than that. I just said, "Hear me out," and everybody just went. I didn't say anything. I just said, "Hear me out." Nobody asked me, "Hey, bro, what do you mean by this? What are you doing? What are you comparing?" Blah blah blah. They just went off the deep end and trying to act like I think that Karl Anthony Towns is better than Tim Duncan, which is crazy.
Okay, yeah. So don't get me wrong. I totally understand that point, but if I could add on to that, when I'm looking at a situation like that, it's like, okay, I don't, and I like to reference Dart's Time Machine Basketball, but I would say to make a more accurate evaluation, have we ever seen Karl Anthony Towns face the degree of difficulty that Duncan had to go up against? And on the flip side, have we ever seen Duncan get to play with the freedom of spacing and high volume scoring that Karl Anthony Towns is being afforded, right? That's how I would look at it. And I'm kind of like, well, which particular what point in time in Tim Duncan's career did he get to have a Karl Anthony Town-esque, type of offense, or I would say luxuries, right? And then when can I see Karl Anthony Towns have to face the type of defensive rules, that Duncan had to go up against?
You capping already.
Clearly. No, you're right. Clearly. And that goes to show you, right then, that post should have brought up a lot of discussion. It should have brought up how era difference and style difference and everything else. You can't just judge. You can never judge things 1-to-1. You know what I'm saying? You can never judge things 1-to-1 like that. And obviously defense. I mean, come on. We like Duncan is one of the greatest defenders at his position or any position of all time. He's probably top 10 defender of all time. Karl Anthony Towns is one of the worst defenders I've ever seen. So we're not even doing that. We're just keeping it an offensive thing. And yeah. Obviously, like the level of competition and all of that, will show you. But at the end of the day, look at these numbers. You know what I'm saying? And look at these numbers. It's kind of crazy. I just found it ironic, mind you. So I didn't actually make that comparison. I didn't go on whatever that site is to put that up there. I just saw it and I said, oh, okay, well, hear me out here. Karl Anthony Towns better than you think. Tim Duncan was great as well, but at the end of the day, So hey, look, I'm the biggest Karl Anthony Towns critic in the world.
What do you think about the claim there, Herm, that Duncan would average 35, 20, and 5 on 75% shooting this era?
He had his damn man.
Wait, who's saying that? Who making that claim?
He had his damn man.
I'll tell you what. He would have better numbers than he did. I'll tell you that much. Because he played in the dead ball era. Let's be fair. He played in what is essentially the dead ball era of the NBA.
Yeah. Is Shea actually coming? It's been like
there
it is.
Okay.
Speak of the devil and he show up.
There you go. All right.
Yo, what up, bro? I pulled up, man.
What up? Hey, Shea, you pulled up. How's it going, man?
Hey, good, man. I mean, I'm ready to get this W, man. It's gonna be a good debate.
I love the
Herm is actually a good debater. I gotta give him his credit, but enough with the mushy stuff, bro. Let's box.
Let's do it. All right,
so, man, I'm gonna go first to be nice to you, man. So
okay, go first. Go first. Man.
All right.
Actually, I was fine with going first, but okay.
Welcome to round 2, guys. We've got the end card today, which again is Tim Duncan a top 5 player? Herm is saying absolutely not. Shea says absolutely he is. Our judges are going to be myself, Roe, and Hoop God, with Dart observing. And whenever we're ready here, we'll put up the clock, give it a 10-second runoff, and Herm will start us off here in just a bit.
I just want to note, if you start talking over your time, I will mute you, so the other person.
All right. Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna pull everyone backstage. You're gonna have there's gonna be a 10-second primer for Herm. You should already know this. And then every 3 minutes, will be a change of rounds. You'll hear a bell signify the change of rounds. Are you two ready?
Let's get it, man.
Alrighty.
Three, two, one.
And when you think of anybody in any top five in any sports, you think about the player's dominance. You think about the impact on the game itself, and you think about had a personified greatness at the time that they played. We understand Tim Duncan is one of the greats. We understand that he had a long, successful career. But when it comes to top five, no, he is not a top five player of all time. I'm gonna start off with this caveat. Tim Duncan never, Tim Duncan never won a gold medal. And people swept that Olympic performance under the rug in 2004 for Tim Duncan. When I look at most of the top five greats of all time, yes, outside of Kareem, outside of Bill Russell, outside of Wilt, and guys like Oscar Robertson, they didn't win gold medals due to racism and due to not even participating in the Olympics. But when it comes to Tim Duncan, guys like LeBron, Jordan, Bird, Magic, Shaquille O'Neal, Keem Olajuwon, guys of that nature that are in many people top tens have won gold medals. For Tim Duncan to not win a gold medal in 2004 and struggle mightily in the Olympics in 2004 just shows why you can't put him in top five conversations. Tim Duncan struggled. He was in foul trouble a lot. He was getting exposed with the FIBA rules. It was so bad to the point where when they asked Tim Duncan will he participate in the Olympics again, Tim Duncan told the reporter 95% sure that he would never participate in the Olympics and play in FIBA rules ever again because he was frustrated due to the fact that if he was so good of a defender, why he only averaged 1.4 blocks in the Olympics? Why he couldn't exploit and showcase that defensive dominance that I'm pretty sure King Shy is going to focus on during this debate. Talking about the all defenses that he has. What is context behind even his all defenses? We know it's position based, especially at the second half of his career. It was position based, and we know it wasn't that many great, great, great centers at that position in the NBA at the time when he was making those all defensive teams later in his career. But when we look at it, for Tim Duncan to get basically they threw it under the table about his Olympic performance in 2004 really just show you that maybe he is not as great as we try to put him at. Maybe we should reconsider putting him in anybody's top five. Hell, he may be outside of the top 10 if we really want to get deep about it because there's guys like Dr. J that had just as much impact on the NBA. It's guys like Oscar Robertson that got the numbers had just as much impact. Hell, Oscar Robertson gave player movement for crying out loud. Let's ask this. What has Tim Duncan done to lift impact on the NBA?
You brought up Tim Duncan in the Olympics, Herm, winning us a gold medal, actually winning us a bronze medal. The issue is the Olympics don't fucking matter in a NBA conversation, right? This is the top 10 NBA players of all time list. Maybe Dr. J in the ABA, but again, that don't matter at all. You talk about Tim Duncan's dominance. I mean, Duncan was the best player in the world for a 3 to 4 year stretch. 03 to 05, he was the best player in the league. And it is what it is. I mean, Tim Duncan is a top 3 defender of all time. I mean, he peaked at all-time great defensive player levels. I mean, he was the best rim protector, best post defender, best roamer in the league, all at the same time, all simultaneously at his peak. No one else in the history of the game can say that outside of maybe Hakeem Olajuwon. Tim Duncan Tim Duncan also did an all-time great carry job in 2003. I mean, we're talking about Tim Duncan averaging 25 points, 13 rebounds, and 3 blocks in the playoffs, and completely dominated the Nets in the finals. Tim Duncan had an all-time great peak, man. I mean, Tim Duncan, even in 2002, Tim Duncan won MVP. Tim Duncan averaged 26 a game. Tim Duncan was a top 5 offensive player in the league at his peak. He was the best defensive player in the league at his peak as well. And in 2004, KG won MVP over him, rightfully so. But he was still the best player in the world. He proved that in the playoffs. He averaged 25 a game. He made first team All NBA and first team All NBA as well. And you also want to talk about the all defensive teams. It don't matter at the end of the day, dog. Tim Duncan is the only player in the league, in league's history, to have 15 All Stars, 15 All NBAs, and 15 All Defensive teams. And not only that, but he won a triple crown 10 All-Stars, 10 All-NBAs, and 10 All-Defensive teams in 1 year, in 1 decade in the 2000s. Not only that, but Tim Duncan also played in the toughest Western Conference of all time. He played with Kobe and Shaq's Lakers, Kobe and Powell's Lakers, Steve Nash and the Suns, uh, uh, Carlos Boozer's Jazz. He played with against the Kings and Chris Webber. He played against the Blazers and Rasheed. He played against the Mavericks and Dirk. He played against all these all-time great teams, the Timberwolves and KG, and yet he dominated and won 5 rings in this era. And he was the best player on 4 of his rings. Not only that, but when we're talking about Tim Duncan as well, Tim Duncan's longevity is absurd. Tim Duncan played at a high level for 17 seasons. That's a top 5 longevity of all time. When you talk about Bill Russell, Herm, Bill Russell doesn't have that longevity. He's missing that. Steph Curry, missing that longevity. Kevin Durant, to an extent, missing that longevity. Hell, even a Kobe and Shaq, missing that longevity. Hakeem Olajuwon, definitely missing that longevity. A lot of these other guys that you have in your top 5 or top 10 over him are missing that longevity. Same with Magic and Bird. So with that being said, man, that's my take on it. Tim Duncan's the top 5 player of all time, man.
1.
Well, Shay, you messed up with that, brother, because Kobe does have longevity. Kevin Durant does have longevity. And when you do look at, when you talk about he's the top 3 defender all time, how? Most 7-footers in NBA history that are considered top defenders, they win Defensive Player of the Year as hell. A guy in his own era, Kevin Garnett, is a better defender than him, more versatile, won a Defensive Player of the Year when he wasn't even at his best in his prime. And Tim Duncan wasn't even the best player for most of the time in his career, even as great as he was. Look for 99 to 2002. Shaquille O'Neal was better than him because, hell, he had one of the most dominant peaks of all time in his own era, Shaquille O'Neal. Then you look for 04 to 06. KG and Dirk Nowitzki was in those conversations. Hell, both of those guys won MVPs. They play his position. And then when you look at Kobe Bryant, we understood what Kobe Bryant did for 06 to 2010. He was arguably the best player in the NBA then. So outside of 2003, you can't give a definitive fact that Tim Duncan was the best player in the world. You can only give him 03 to be exact. But when it comes to defense, it was guys like Dwight Howard that was a better defender than him in his era, especially from 2008 to 2010. Then you had guys like Ben Wallace put up historical defensive numbers in the early 2000s. That was a better defender than him. Hell, even an old ass Mutombo won Defensive Player of the Year when he was with the Sixers at the time when Tim Duncan was supposed to be one of the best defenders in the league, best blockers in the league. Because look at Akeem Olajuwon. Hell, is he the all-time leader of blocks? But you try to say that he's better than Akeem Olajuwon? Well, you got to get that right, buddy. But when you look at top 5, bro, he doesn't even have a top 5 peak of all time. It's a lot of peaks that tops him. When you look at the win shares over 48, Jordan at a .27 at his peak, Braun at a 2.5, Shaq at a 0.26. Kareem got the best out of all of them at a .30. And then you look at Will at a .26. So that's just giving you examples. Like when you look at peaks, that is not a top 5 peak. Now, does his longevity give him arguments to be in the top 10 conversation? Yes. We're not talking top 10. We're talking top 5. So when I look at it, he's not even better than these 5 big men that I'm going to throw at you now. He's not better than Shaquille O'Neal all the time. I already told you about his peak. I'm giving you Will Chamberlain. Will Chamberlain is a guy that we know his peak numbers can top Will Chamberlain. He's not better than Kareem all the time, not better than Bill Russell, and not better than Akeem. So if he's not better than those 5, definitively better than those 5 bigs, how in the hell you can put him in the top 5 all time? When we got guys like Michael Jordan, LeBron James, and the like, I'm not even mentioning them in this top 5 conversation yet. I'm not even going to the Magic Johnsons yet.
1.
I'm gonna address the Kobe point real quick. You brought up Tim Duncan not being the best player in the world definitively outside of 03. Even if you believe that that's true, as long as you think he was in 03. But the same thing applies to Kobe. He was only the best player in the world definitively in maybe 08, 06, maybe 1 or 2 years too. I mean, I love Kobe. Kobe's in my top 5 as well. But that logic also applies to Kobe Bryant. And you brought up the defensive player, all-time greatest defensive player of all time argument with Kevin Garnett, with Dikembe Mutombo, with Dwight and Hakeem. Again, KG there's an argument for KG, but again, versatility. When we talk about power forwards in the 2000s, a lot of bigs were not asked to guard out in space. That wasn't the primarily job. That wasn't the primary job of a big man in the 2000s. It was a rim protect, post defense. It was to roam. It was to shade. It was for help defense. That's what big men were great at in the 2000s. And Tim Duncan was consistently anchoring a top 3 defense in the league for over a decade. I understand KG did not play with elite defenders, but that impact really goes to show you that it was a big man dominated. Big man really dominated the paint, and even though KG was really versatile, again the paint was always most dominated for big men. You brought up Dikembe Mutombo. Dikembe Mutombo, he's not a better defender than Tim Duncan at all. He also played in a completely different era. There were no zones in the '90s. He also played in an era where you were allowed to just sit in the paint. You were allowed to camp, and that's not, again, that's not as good of a defender as Tim Duncan. You brought up Hakeem. I've said it before. Hakeem is a top 2 defender of all time behind Bill Russell. I do agree he's a better defender than Bill Russell. Dwight Howard. You said Dwight Howard was a better defender than Tim Duncan in his era. Well, I didn't even know he was Tim Duncan's era. I mean, Tim Duncan was already 33, 34 when Dwight started winning DPOIs. And not only that, but even if you want to say Dwight's the best defender of his era, which he's not, he's still, like, Tim Duncan from 2008 was still the best defender in the league, or 01-08. That's a 6 to 7 year. That's a 7-year stretch of him being the best defender in the league, even before Dwight Howard. So he still has an extensive period of time as being the best defender in the league, which you cannot dispute either. And you also want to talk about him absolutely not being You brought up the advanced stats. I mean, advanced stats don't matter more than points, rebounds, and assists. The greatest players of all time have the most points, rebounds, and assists. Kobe, LeBron, Wilt, Kareem, Duncan, Shaq, all these niggas. Michael Jordan, KD, they all have some of the highest points, rebounds, and assists of all time, with over 50,000 combined points, rebounds, and assists. The advanced stats thing, Kobe's not up there in advanced stats. Bill Russell's not up there in advanced stats. Tim Duncan's not up there in advanced stats. Some of these guys are not up there in advanced stats, which really proves that advanced stats are really flawed, and it's a very flawed metric to determine all-time great peaks and players of all time. I understand PER, VORP, they usually give it to the MVP winner at that time, but once again, man, that does not mean
3,
that
2, 1.
Nice try, kid. But let's get to this, man. Tim Duncan, you guys, we understand that he's an all-time great, and a lot of things that I said, he kind of misconstrued it, but he still couldn't refute it. But when we look at Tim Duncan's career, you guys, he does give you a top 10 resume, but top five always personified the elk of the elks, the guys that separate themselves for the masses. Tim Duncan never could separate himself from anybody because he never led the league at points. Does he have any scoring titles? No. Does he have any rebounding titles? No. Does he have any block titles? No. He's really never been a guy that would lead in any category. So how can we say that he's in the top 5 conversation with guys that's in the top 5 consistently, like a LeBron, like a Jordan, like a Wilt, like a Kareem? Hell, like a Kobe, like a Shaq, guys like that, and we seen those guys lead the league in something in part of their careers. We never seen Tim Duncan lead in anything in the regular season. That matters. That shows you that, hey, he's cool, he's good, but for us great, for us being dominant, no, there's not. So end of the day, you guys, we could respect his level of success for us, how he was a great teammate. But at the same time, for us being the all-time greatest top 5 player of all time, hell no, we can't put him in those conversations because these guys are just better. These guys are better in certain aspects of the game. So when it comes to defense, he is not a top 5 defender of all time. When it comes to offensive player, he is not a top 5 post player of all time. When it comes to being just the best player in the game, hell, you can argue only between you telling me a guy that played as many years as Tim Duncan, he only was considered the best player in the NBA according to King Shot 3 times. If that's the case, man, maybe we could put a lot of people in the conversations of being in the top 5, but we just measuring 3 years of being the best player in the world as a caveat to being a top 5 player of all time. We never put anybody that's only been the best player for 3 years in the NBA in top 5 conversations. We never done that. So why are we trying to put this man in the conversation that he doesn't belong in? It's not a disgrace of putting Tim Duncan outside the top 5. It's a disgrace when we try to put them over guys that have done more for the game of basketball itself in NBA history. So when we look at Tim Duncan's resume, maybe all of us need to reevaluate it. All of us need to really give a real breakdown of why Tim Duncan is not a top 5 player of all time.
3, 2, 1.
I respect. You had a good debate, Herm, but you're done now, man. I respect the last point about impact on the league. Tim Duncan wouldn't be top 5 by that measure, but again, we're talking about careers and impact, not only on your team, but in terms of what you've done. How good were you? So again, by that logic, Tim Duncan is definitely top 5. You also brought up the point with Tim Duncan was only the best player in the world 3 years by my measure. Yeah, from 03 to 05, arguably 99 too. But even if it was only 3 years, I mean, besides Kareem, LeBron, and Jordan, who else dominated the league for more than 3 years as the best player in the world? Who? Bill Russell? Maybe Will Chamberlain was only the best player in the world for like 3 years, from 66 to 68. Bird from 84 to 86. Magic from 87 to 89. Hakeem 94 to 95. Steph Curry was probably never even the best player in the league. Kobe Bryant 06, 08. Shaq maybe 2002. So these are very short runs of best player in the league. In terms of these all-time great players, only LeBron, Jordan, Kareem, and Bill Russell had a long, extensive period of time in terms of 7 to 8 plus years of being the best player in the league. And also, to hammer my final point down, I want to name you my criteria. My criteria is winning, resume, longevity, peak, stats, level of competition, and skill set. These are the 7 things that I value in terms of being an all-time great player. Tim Duncan is in the top 5 for most of the teams. We talk about winning. Only guys who are better winners than him in terms of all-time greats are Bill Russell, Kareem, Michael Jordan, and that's the whole list. You talk about resume. Tim Duncan got 15 All-Stars, 15 All-NBAs, 15 All-Defensive teams. When you combine all of that, that's 45 combined All-Stars, All-NBAs, and All-Defensive teams. That is only second behind LeBron James, and that's tied with Kareem and Kobe for second of all time. You talk about longevity. Tim Duncan played at a high level for 17 years. Only Kareem and LeBron can really say that. KG played at a high level for 16 years. Kobe, 16 years. KD, 16 years. Steph Curry, 13 years. Hakeem. So a lot of these guys, they don't have the longevity for Tim Duncan. You talk about peak. Tim Duncan was the best defensive player in the league and top 5 offensive player in the league at the same time, and holds a 3-year stretch as best in the world. And 02 to 04 is definitely a top 10 peak of all time. So it already puts him in the conversation. Stats, Tim Duncan is top 6 all time in points, rebounds, and assists. He has 54,000, only behind Will Chamberlain, Karl Malone, Kobe, LeBron, and Kareem. Competition, Tim Duncan, like I said before, to add on to my point, 2000s West is the toughest competition of all time. Matter of fact, the 2000s is the toughest era and best era of basketball of all time. He competed with some of the all-time greats like in their prime, like I said, Kobe, LeBron, Shaq, KG, Dirk, Nash, Wade, and dominated all of them and won 5 championships in the procedure. And again, skill set, Tim Duncan is a top 3 defender of all time. Tim Duncan is one of the greatest offensive bigs of all time. He might not be as great of an offensive player as Shaq, Hakeem, and Kareem, but his skill set is still more than enough to put him in this conversation.
3, 2,
and put him at the top 5 player of all time.
Ooh, I mean, that was a great debate. Hell, I was very impressed for both sides. They freaking brought it. Heck, I'm still organizing my notes. Hoop God or Road, you guys want to go first? Are you guys both dead?
Hold on, I'm sorry. I'll set it off. I was muted. Yeah, it actually was a great debate. It was a great debate. It was a tough one, and y'all know me. I'm the rebuttalist, so I love having rebuttals. I also love factual based arguments, and I love building your case. I put it this way: it's a tough debate because you're trying to basically put a guy in the top 5 who has the resume, but you're comparing him to every other player that ever played all time. And I think one thing that King Shah said in his first round, when he said that Bill Russell wasn't a roamer on defense. Yeah, I couldn't get over that, right? And again, you don't have to have Russell in your top 5. A lot of people don't. But when you built up a lot, I think you did a lot of good job of saying that Tim Duncan was a very good player at a lot of different aspects. But I don't think you really like. I number one, I never really got your top five, right? And you brought up a lot of names, and you know what? Indirectly, you make cases for those names you brought up. You admitted that like 6 other guys, especially a couple of them being Tim Duncan's contemporaries, were top. Were best player in the league for 3 different seasons. Well, you admitted Duncan was only the best player for 3 different seasons. So for that reason, again, I'm gonna give it to Herm 3 10-9 rounds. You really fought back. I will give you credit for fighting back, but you never really cemented why Duncan is better than the rest of the field. Like, why does he get one of those top 5 spots? And then indirectly, you brought up a lot of names and you kind of made their case. Herm made a case of why guys were better defenders. Herm made a case why guys were better offensively, and in his own era. And now you have to compare it for the whole era. And remember, GOAT means greatest of all time. That means from the 1946 to where we at now in 2026. 80 years of the league. And it's a really hard argument, and you really have to show a lot of superiority, and you just pretty much put them on par with a lot of guys. So I got her proving this case 3-0. Who got?
What do you think?
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Shit, my mic was muted. It's on me?
Yeah.
It's on me?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Hey, can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, we hear you.
Okay. Yeah, so I ain't gonna lie. Yeah, y'all was throwing some haymakers there, man. I thoroughly enjoyed that. So just to be clear, the discussion was whether Tim Duncan was top 5. And I don't know if the young man mentioned it because I kind of went out simultaneously, but if Tim Duncan is universally regarded as the greatest power forward of all time, then I would have to say that substantiates his case. I don't know if he mentioned that. I think I heard him mention the back-to-back MVPs, and when I'm looking, every other back-to-back MVP is either in the top 5 or has a top 5 case, and I'm talking about LeBron, Jordan, Magic, Bird, LeBron, well, with the exception of Steph Curry, but every other back-to-back MVP, if I'm not mistaken, Kareem as well, they have valid cases as
Moses
being top
Malone.
5. And then on the defensive side, I think I heard him mention Tim Duncan captain the number 1 defense, three or 4 times in that interregnum with Ben Wallace and KG. But I got to give Herm props though. He was able to spotlight some things as far as KG's defensive superiority versus Duncan, because I think KG is a more rangy defender, with the lateral ability. But did he mention like Tim Duncan coming up in those big moments outside of the 2007 NBA Finals? And what I mean by that is like just in
No,
pivotal moments, whether it be a key block, a key steal,
no, he
03 when
ain't, he
he was
ain't talking
1
about
block
nothing
from a
like that,
quadruple
man.
double.
I was just talking about
I'm
how
just looking at it on, I guess, what would be the things that he values, like you said, King Rose speech, and him making like the indirect argument for other guys. But then I'm also looking on the other side. All right, Hearn, what's your criteria as to why he's not up there, just so I can see if it all lines up? But I'm gonna give the young man, I don't want to mispronounce your name, but I'm gonna just give him the edge slightly. But yeah, I ain't gonna lie. Herm brought some haymakers that I wasn't prepared for, but yeah, I like how the both of you guys discussed this particular topic.
Ooh, okay. Well, got the onus on me to break this tie then. Thanks. Hey, this was a fantastic debate. Both guys are very high level energy, which I thought was fantastic. I've never heard Shea debate, which I was excited to hear, and like hearing new people and their styles. I thought that round 1 I gave to Shea just because Herm led off with the gold medal thing, which is a valid point, right? And he was talking, he kind of got exposed in those Olympics when he was supposed to be the guy. He was in his prime. He was supposed to lead them to a medal, et cetera, et cetera. I don't really talk about LeBron, but I get that. But I thought that Shea had a stronger round 1 where he was talking about Tim Duncan's had a great peak. He said he was a top 3 defender. He did highlight he's the only player ever to have 15 All-Stars, all defense, or 15 All-Defense and 15 All-NBAs. And so I thought that was a fantastic point. He did start to highlight that he played against arguably and objectively some of the toughest competition ever. He talked about Kobe and Shaq's Lakers, talked about Prime Dirk, all this stuff. He had to go through the Pistons, the Celtics, all these players, all these teams, and the Kings, Blazers, all these teams that were pretty much hyper peaked at that time. He was going through, and I thought that was a great point that he elaborated on. And then we went on. I gave round 2. I actually gave to Herm because he was talking about outside of 03, Duncan wasn't really the best player. I mean, he was giving a lot of other players that we really consider over Tim Duncan. Objectively, he was talking about Shaq, Kareem, Wilt, Bill, Hakeem. He said not to even mention Jordan or LeBron because their resume is just kind of dwarf Duncan's. And then I was kind of looking for Shea to kind of rebuttal that as far as just someone. I was looking for him to kind of hyper focus on maybe a couple names that are generally considered over Tim Duncan and kind of attack those players. Maybe like maybe like a Bill or Will, something like that, and just say, okay, this is his case over that, and this is why I have him top 3 or 4 or 5, whatever. He didn't do that, but I did love the point where he actually said that how many players in league history have been considered the undisputed best player in the league for more than 2, 3, or 4 years. There's not many. That was a fantastic point. What do you say? He said like Kareem, Michael Jordan, maybe LeBron. There's only maybe a handful of players you can point to and say he was the best for not even a question for more than a few years. And so I feel like he really that was a great point. But I really felt like he could have left a little bit on the table as far as he really didn't organize the players and say, okay, this is why he's above this player. He's above this player. And then Herm, I think, I give it to Herm. I give the overall debate to Herm in round 3 because Herm did solidify. He came with the closing argument. Hey, Tim Duncan, where is the top 5 runs? He didn't lead. He's never led in points, rebounds, blocks. Other players during his he made the argument. Other players during his prime maybe were better defensively. He mentioned guys who were winning awards, guys who were better statistically. Definitely had a lot of great points on both sides there. Shea then mentioned about how Tim Duncan was busy anchoring top 10, top 5 defenses for his entire career, and how there was very few players who could actually say that. But the only reason, this is a very close debate. This is how I like them. They're super hard to judge. The main reason I'm giving it to Herm is because I feel like, and not to say that he will do this in the future, because I think that during your first debate it's whatever, but I'd love to see it again. There's just a little bit left on the bone as to why if you're arguing top 5, you need to attack certain players, and as far as why he's better, and because otherwise it's just a jumble. We don't know who you're talking about or whatever. You did a fantastic job of outlining his career. He's a lot of the same points I do, and fantastic talking points all around. Just a little bit left on the bone, but hairline by nose. Great debate overall. I definitely want to get a rematch of this at some point. But yeah, great job, you guys both.
Salute, man. Salute. You did a good job, Shy. You did a good job.
Hey, you did a good job too. I gave my criteria too. Maybe the top 5 player of all time. I never really gave that, but it is what it is. We both had a good debate, and this rig lightweight. So
Jay, that rebuttal though, dude, when you said, okay, tell me how many players were the best in the league for more than 3 years, that was something I've never heard as a rebuttal. Because
T perfect. That's what I tell people. It's literally only Kareem, Jordan, Braun. If you want.
Oh yeah, that was a really great point, man.
There's a lot of guys that were the greatest, the best guys in the league. You got George Mikan, you got Bill Russell,
Oscar Robinson,
Will Chamberlain.
Will Chamberlain. Chamberlain was the best for 3 years.
Yeah,
bro.
he was.
Yeah, he was.
No, he was definitely the best. Well, it depends on how you measure it. Again,
First
to
5
me,
years, it was Will for sure.
No, Bill Russell was 58 to like 65. And I think Will passed him.
And that's me suspending belief and agreeing with you that Duncan had it from 03 to what? 03 to 05? That's me
05.
suspending belief. Yeah. I mean, honestly, I think Kobe took the crown by 05, 06. But again, that's arguable. It's arguable. It's arguable. You said 06 and 08 at one point.
Kobe also had, they both
he had
had
05 to 09 for sure. Kobe had 05 to 09.
He did not have.
I must add too. The dream team, the Olympic team point was a good point because again, one thing when you bring up the Olympics it helped in globalizing the game, which actually added a lot of great competition that you talk about Duncan playing against. If you don't have the globalization with the dream team in the 92 Olympics and the 96 and eventually on, this would actually got guys to come from Europe to over here. So you actually added to the competition point to the point where you said that. So him not winning as a member of Team USA and never coming back, that is a significant point.
Nah, it's never irrelevant though, because USA basketball was in danger, nigga, and you know who saved USA basketball.
That was Isiah not winning a gold medal was used against me. So if that's valid, then it's valid now.
Outside stuff like Olympics and college, part of my criteria. Like those were the 7 things I laid out. And again,
well, it gets you in the Hall of Fame.
Hey, Ro, I'd actually argue that out of all the points her made, the Olympics was probably the worst one. Everything else was good. But
I'll put it this way. If it was just off the MVP and MVP accolades, is Manu Ginobili going to the Hall of Fame?
If it's just like NBA,
yeah, he going. He going off his NBA resume.
He can make it.
You really think so?
Well, yeah, because he.
There's a lot. Kevin Johnson should be in the NBA.
Wait, Ro. I'm gonna say this. No, I agree with you. Yes, I think Kevin Johnson is a snub. But Ro, I'm gonna ask you a question. How the hell is Tracy McGrady a Hall of Famer and Manu is not?
He should be a Hall of Famer. He should. Tracy McGrady.
Well, Tracy McGrady was clearly the better player.
Okay.
See,
but hear me out. I got mad love for T-Mac, but he never got out the first round as the best player.
I understand that.
Ginobili was never the best player, so it doesn't really matter. Like there were no.
See, and again, you don't got to be the best player in the league to make it to the Hall of Fame. That's my point. See, so what happens is the Olympic success will definitely help Manu Ginobili in his situation. It'll also help, again, being a bronze medalist or a silver medalist for France helps Tony Parker's case. Meanwhile, when we're so superior in basketball in our history, where we've won all but 3 gold medals, when you're one of the teams that don't win a gold medal, that is a valid point, especially when Herm laid it out where your deficiency was in that competition. And Duncan said he did not enjoy international competition. So, I mean, it was a valid point. It wasn't something he stayed on, but it was a valid point. So to just say, well, this makes it's just an NBA conversation. Well, no. Again, the Olympics and the national play actually helped with the globalization of the game, which actually enhanced the NBA and its talent pool. So just wanted to throw that in there.
Oh, also the Chris Paul Isiah Thomas debate was good too.
That was. I really like that one.
I would give Chris Paul.
It was used against me again. I countered it with, Isiah was kept off the dream team. Number one, he wasn't there in 80. 84, he couldn't qualify. But by the time he could in 92, the fact that he went against guys that kind of didn't want, they left the sour taste in their mouth when he competed against them. That pretty much, his NBA
Isiah Thomas was sleeping with their wives, right?
I think that was a big
I heard all that shit, man. Yeah.
Wait. He did what?
Oh. That's a Travis. Travis will always throw in one of those. He always throw in one of them just kidding moments. But I mean, again, Scottie Pippen didn't like him, so
Well, hey,
what can you do?
Fantastic debates, and we've got to get our avatars back up here so we can keep track of these stats that are coming up in our win losses. But 2 great debates, love them. and we're gonna do that the same next weekend. I'm gonna communicate with all you guys. Right, we're gonna set up some more, and there should be some great. We're gonna expand to new topics and everything. So we're gonna keep this going because it's been a couple weeks now of fantastic knockdown drag out debates. Razor thin, especially today. I think these two have been some of the closer ones that I think. But props to both all of our contestants today, and first timer Shay with showing up and representing in a big way, man. Great job out of you and Herm. Obviously, Herm always present.
Hey, you want to debate?
Salute to y'all, man.
Bro, you want to debate Scotty versus Kawhi or something like that?
Oh, well,
you know what? Let's debate this. Let's debate this, King Shy. Here's a debate I'm interested in.
Go ahead.
Was LeBron's Lakers success objectively?
Hell no.
You want to do that?
Is that even over yet?
You want to do that?
That would be good. That would be good.
Okay. Objectively, was it? And we might be able to do that on 10 Toes Down. I got to see how the week plays out.
Okay.
But I really want to get into that. You know, was his time in LA a success? You know, if I mean, we can all see the writing on the wall. I really doubt he'll be a Laker next year if he even plays next year. But let's have that discussion. Keisha, are you down for it?
Yeah, I'm down for it. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. I hit you on the TikTok. That's
Hey,
how I got
Travis,
your back.
most definitely hit my line, Travis, about what we gonna debate next week.
Yeah, man, I'll hit you up tomorrow with the criteria for sure.
Okay, bet.
All right. Well, hey guys, any final words there, everyone? Or cut it out. Let everyone enjoy their Saturdays after two great rounds. Final words.
Man, I'm still undefeated. I'm still undefeated on lights.
We'll see about that next week, Herm.
I'm gonna give my top 10. Man. It's LeBron, Jordan, Duncan, Kobe, Shaq, Steph, KD, Magic, and Bird, man. So, in case all y'all wanted to know, there it is.
Fair top 10, I feel like. Yep. Dart, take us away.
Unfortunately, Herm, you're not undefeated on 10 Toes Down.
That wasn't even a damn debate. Man.
That was a damn debate. See what I'm saying? That was a damn debate.
You can't be yelling and talking over people and saying that's a debate.
Wait, Dart, didn't I beat Herm on your AMD? Oh no, I lost that.
It was a back and forth discussion.
Yeah,
it's okay. Hey, stay safe. Hey, stay safe in your house. It's all good.
It's not my fault. You're not good with structure. You know what I'm saying? You love chaos.
What's funny is you agreed to the rules.
Fire.
You agreed with the rules.
Yeah, but I didn't know you was gonna be out of line like that, though. I didn't know you was gonna go.
We had a back and forth discussion. You had
you did most of the talking, bro. I ain't really talking.
No, I asked you questions. And I let you go.
You can't have a debate if you doing most of the talking, though. That's not a debate, bro.
You understand? That is a form of debate, right? The discussion, back and forth question, open question.
A form of a discussion. Two people can actually talk it out. We couldn't even talk because you did most of the talking.
No, I didn't. I just asked the questions and I let you go.
No, you did most of the talking, bro.
Okay.
I mean, we could pick any subject, do it again, and this again. Get a moderator because again, that's shout out to CW. He did a pretty good job moderating, but we get a moderator that actually has to control it, and that's what I'm saying. That's
who got it? We got to get
the moderator to shut me up. Just because I'm the host don't mean But anyway.
But yeah, we'll get everyone involved. This is gonna be great.
Yeah, rap guy. Who God is the most disgusting judge I've ever seen in my life, man. That was disgusting, man.
He likes Duncan.
Hey, rap guy, you got to subscribe from Sports and Fitness Rants, man. That dude is funny as fuck, but he's something else, man. So
Rap God is here. But anyway, guys, again, another fantastic episode of Lights Out debates, and we'll have more coming your way next weekend with scintillating matchups that hopefully some fresh faces, fresh matchups for sure. But again, thanks to everyone for pulling up and giving us smoke where we never duck anyone, and anyone's invited. So have a great rest of your Saturday, boys, and have a good one. Stay safe.